So in 1973, I was working at MGM with Michael Kahn on the Fuzz Brothers, a Joel Freeman JDF Black production. Late one night, Gordon Parks and Joel Freeman came by our editing room because Michael Kahn had a reputation as being the fastest film editor in probably the world, but actually in Hollywood, and probably the world, but he was very, very fast, and he worked many hours to make sure that he stayed at the top of the speed editors. For instance, as soon as a director finished shooting, the next day Michael would have a first cut ready for viewing, and that's very, very fast. So as his assistant, I had to work probably 2 extra hours before he showed up and 2 extra hours after he left, just to make sure that things were coming along fine, and did a pretty good job of that. When I first met anyone, I didn't go over and shake their hand and introduce myself. I waited until an opportune moment presented itself before I introduced myself. So there was always a little kind of ceremony that I went through. I did the same thing with Ken Russell on Altered States. So the first time I met Mr. Parks was around 1973, and then a year later, Harry Howard, his film editor, asked me if I wanted to work on Lead Belly. And at that time, I was working on another picture for Columbia Pictures called Nakia, The Adventures of an Indian Sheriff. And again, we were working really long hours, and I was anxious to get off of the television show. It was a David Gerber production for Columbia Pictures. The editor was Hugh Chalupka, a good friend of mine. So Lead Belly didn't start on time, and so there were a couple months that went by while we were waiting for Paramount to give the okay for it to actually start. So I had left one job that I already had in order to start a job which was being held up for about 6 weeks to 2 months. And so let's see, what can I tell you? That's the way the film business goes. Sometimes you're asked to do a picture, and the picture isn't ready to start rolling until the money is in place. Sometimes the picture never starts. So at any rate, that's about enough of that.